My name's Nate, and this is Heavy Pedal Garage. So in the last video, we worked over the entire passenger side of this car. We got it blocked down to 220 grit. Everything's looking pretty good. Today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get started with block sanding this trunk, but the first thing I've got to do is get this spoiler off. I almost hate to do that because I just love how this thing looks on the car. This car is originally an Esprit, so the rear quarters and the deck lid did not have the bolt hole provisions for a spoiler. So I ended up buying the spoiler used. It's off of a 76. So to make my template, believe it or not, yes, I used lipstick. So I took a little bit of this lipstick and I just marked it on a little bit on the bottom of my through heads. Just like that. Of course, I did it all the way down. This is just an example. And then all I needed to do was take the spoiler, get it on my template piece of paper. I made some rough marks to be able to line it up with the edge of the trunk. And then at the end of the day, you just mark where your bolt holes need to go. Like putting lipstick on a pig, right? Transfer this over to your trunk lid, make your marks, drill your holes, cross your fingers. There you go. That's how you do it. Now this piece here, this trunk panel, I did this early on in my game here, so I'm real curious to see how this turns out. I do remember that I blocked it with 80 and I did a little bit of filler work, skim coats of filler where it needed to be. And I can still see a lot of sanding scratches in this. So hopefully we're gonna start with some 220 and just make it happen here, see what we come up with. So yeah, where this trunk's kind of got an arc to it this way, I definitely don't want to just put my paper on my block. What I want to do is put the paper on the contour of the panel and then use my block to replicate the contour of that panel while I am pushing my paper onto the block. So basically what that does is it helps your paper hold the block into the position that it needs to be in. And then you just start working it. I think we got it as far as we're gonna take it. It's looking pretty good. I did some skim coating where I had a few little pinholes and whatnot, but most of the work was done on this edge. It's really smooth, so I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with that. But there's a filler panel that goes right there, and I actually went ahead and put a couple rounds of filler on it just to skim coat a glaze to kind of lay everything up. I kind of blocked it all the way across so that the high points were the two edges and everything was smooth in between. Pretty happy with how that turned out. But I want to take you guys down memory lane a little bit here. So this trunk, the gaps on it were pretty rough. Just like all F-bodies, these gaps were not perfect from the factory. So I went in and grinded the edge of the trunk lid down further past where I wanted it to get my gap correct, and then I went ahead and zipped weld all the way down to build it back up further than I wanted it. And then I went ahead and ground it down and even used a hand file to get that gap perfect. I've put a lot of work into getting them just right, and if you want to go back and check out exactly how I did that, I didn't have the camera rolling for the full time I worked on the trunk, but when I've worked on the doors, I documented that process, and I have some videos on that. So in the last video, I worked the whole passenger side of the car over, down to 220 grit and sprayed some primer. But I stopped right here where the sail panel wraps up and over to the roof. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to work all of this edge in, and then I'm going to start blending it over to the middle. And then from the middle, we'll start working it over that way. And again, since this is such a big panel with an arc to it, I'm going to lay my paper down first and rotate my block so that I can keep that contour as I'm sanding. And this is 220 grit. We got the roof all blocked out. Everything on the roof is looking pretty good. It's not perfect, but that's okay. Everything that we have is going to be taken care of with the next round of primer. So we have a little bit of texture issue here and there, and I used a little bit of glaze filler to fill in some pinholes and some of the areas where the texture was a little rougher than others. I felt like we probably should put some glaze filler in there to make that happen. Before we move on with the project at hand here, I just wanted to take a minute and show you guys a cool sticker that I got from Doug over at DNA Performance. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my cabinet here, and if anybody has a channel and you've got stickers that you want to share, go ahead and send me a message. Hit me in the comment box, let me know. We'll swap emails, and I'd love to send you a sticker, and you can send me one of yours and we'll put it up on the cabinet here. That way we can kind of share with each other as viewers what our channels are and what they're all about, and kind of help spread the word about these good car channels. But go check out DNA Performance. Doug is working on a super cool second gen Camaro. He's doing excellent work, and I can't wait to see how that thing turns out. You guys want to see it, so go check out Doug and tell him Heavy Pedal Garage sent you. So once I'm done with block sanding, you guys know there's dust everywhere. So the first thing I do is kind of get things straightened up, get my tools put away, my sandpaper, my blocks, and then I start wiping off the vehicle with a dry cloth. I blow some air, get all the major dust that I can out, and then I end up opening my garage doors, and I take a leaf blower and I just blow everything off. Blow the floor down, blow the car off, and just get this thing ready to go. After it's all masked, I like to just let things calm down. I've had a long day of block sanding on this car, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna have a beer, and I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna relax, take care, and this is all gonna be ready to go to hit the primer in the morning. Nice and fresh, get my coffee going, and just spray it out. Roof, really nice. Minimal orange peel. As you can see from the reflection, bodywork looks pretty good. That's why I love this primer. I mean, it sprays down without that orange peel on it. It's got a super nice sheen and a pretty cool gloss. So the trunk, you know, it's okay. I can see some pinholes and stuff that may or may not block out. You know, if we got to do a little bit of glaze before the seal coat, that's okay. But the biggest goof up is this texture right here. I lost my focus when I was spraying, and you know, I think I got the gun a little bit too close and it just kind of piled it on there. But other than every time I see it, I kind of get a little disgusted about it, but it's okay. It'll block out. But we're moving right along, and I tell you what, guys, right now it's early January, and I am hoping that by sometime this summer, early fall, we could be, cross our fingers, taking this thing out with plates and registration and getting her out on the road. So you're going to want to stick around to see all of that for sure.